Hello, Soilheads. There is news now, supposedly, or at least reports, that Donald Trump made a mad dash for the nuclear codes and was stopped by none less than General Dan Kane, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Uh, Guys, I do not believe this, and I will go into it why in a little bit. But surely enough, the Mirror put out these reports that Donald Trump indeed was trying to get the nuclear codes uh, to launch on Iran. And so let's kind of break this down because this was reported by retired CIA analyst Larry Johnson. And Larry Johnson claims that during an emergency White House meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump tried to get these codes, but he was blocked by General Dan Kane. But guys, what he did say that the meeting was rather explosive. Well, guys, that's not the way things are done. And a retired CIA analyst ought to know better, quite frankly, than to make such wild assertions as that. Because in reality, Donald Trump can get the codes. But what can happen is under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the military can refuse an unlawful order. Now, what is lawful and what is not lawful actually takes some consideration. It's not as cut and dried as senator, admiral, astronaut, Scott, excuse me, Skid Mark Kelly would have us think. So, but in any event, this is just a bunch of somebody just trying to smear the reputation of Donald Trump, putting out a bunch of stuff like this in the media. It actually did make some media reports, but the truth of the matter is that there are procedures that would stop that from taking place if that was required. First off, Donald Trump would have to consult with his senior advisors before making such a launch attempt. And there's just a lot of protocol that would be gone through. But he's got the codes. He's carrying a football. He's got a military attaché that goes with him, carrying the so-called football briefcase, whatever you want to call it. So it don't make good walking around sense. And you got to consider it also in context of the overall ceasefire, peace negotiations, which are very much up in the air. Now, there's some other nuclear stuff we're going to talk about tonight, too, a little bit, because and that's why I called it Nuke War News as part of the title tonight. And also, I got a special treat for you guys because the Iranians have announced that they hold the cards for a brand new weapons that the United States, the West, has never seen, and they're going to unleash them. I got the video. You tonight will see the exclusive first ever airing of the video of the Iranian weapon systems. Never aired anywhere before. So stay tuned for that. That'll be your treat for tonight. So, my friends, this is what's coming up. The situation is that in reality, Donald Trump actually was talking about extending the ceasefire. Yes, that's what he was talking about earlier today. He was talking about extending the ceasefire into such time the negotiations were over. There just wasn't a lot of problem with that. Donald Trump was getting ready to send, his son-in-law and Vice President Vance, among others, to Islamabad into Pakistan for negotiations. But the Iranians say they're not going. And they're now claiming they're not going because, well, they're concerned that Donald Trump will launch a sneak attack while they're in negotiations. Like, what would that have to do with it? Whether if he was going to launch a sneak attack, he could do it anyway. But that's really just cover for the fact that they just had a major brouhaha in Iran over the negotiations that had taken place so far. And nobody there wants to be accused of being part of it, because the delegation that was trying to negotiate previously was widely attacked by the IRGC hardliners and even threatened with arrest and execution. They love doing executions in Iran. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump had heard reports from some other source, which we don't know if it's true or not, that there were something like 8 different women that were slated to be executed. And Donald Trump actually pleaded with the Iranians not to show a sign of good faith and not execute these ladies as a sign, just a good sign before any such negotiations. But we know these negotiations are probably not going to take place, and the ceasefire officially expires Wednesday night. So that's less than 24 hours from now. So, and is he using Iran time? Is he using Washington East Coast time for that? Probably East Coast time. But so there's a whole lot to be considered here and what's coming up. Now, like I said, he said, well, we'll just extend the ceasefire. But now he's saying, nah, no extension. He pretty much thinks that the bombs are just going to fall simply because the Iranians just seem like they're not going to negotiate. Now, the Iranians still think that they can actually outlast Donald Trump. Can they? Will their economy collapse due to the blockade? That's been suggested recently that some of the Iranian Shadow Fleet ships somehow managed to get around the blockade and get out at sea. And reports of that have included anything from over a couple dozen to just 11. So we're in a fog of war. You hear different things from different sources. One source says 11. One source is claiming like 39 ships. That's a little hard to believe. We do know that one ship was fired on, and we know that and boarded, which Iran, then fired its stuff in the Strait of Hormuz immediately after. So this ceasefire is already extremely tenuous. And I had suggested that the real thing going on there was that Trump was actually waiting until he got more firepower in the area, and he's probably estimating he'll have what he wants at the end of the ceasefire period. That doesn't mean necessarily that the bombs start falling exactly at midnight Wednesday, probably Eastern Daylight Time, but it could. So what fully it's going to add up to, we don't know yet. And how far, what extent they would actually bomb, what would be taken out, remains to be seen too. He had earlier threatened to end the civilization there, but he was talking about with conventional weapons, taking out power plants and bridges. Now, we know he can't take out all the bridges, and probably would not want to bomb things. I won't know. We don't know this for sure. He probably wouldn't want to take things out to the extent that the protesters would be wiped out too, that they wouldn't have any hope for recovery after the fact. But as I mentioned last night, that taking out power plants and bridges does serve a military purpose if you're going to send troops in to actually try to grab the nuclear materials, the highly enriched uranium, which would be a difficult process. But if the troops internally can't mobilize and you destroy the troops right there in that area, and the rest of them can't get to it because, let's face it, like I said, Iran has as their major advantage from against internal invasion or external invasion, that they got all these big mountain ranges, but it's also a disadvantage for internal mobilization within Iran. You take out the grid, you take out bridges, command and control's gone, and to a large degree, and then the ability to mobilize has been highly restricted. So we'll have to see what all that boils down to. But these secret weapons that Iran has just might make a big difference. I'm going to show you the secret weapons in a little bit. So bear with me. Because Iran's saying we got the cards. We got the secret weapon. But anyway, it's been suggested, though, that indeed the forces there are ready to fight on the Iranian side. Donald Trump saying he's ready to go into war. So it's probably going to be game on, just like really soon. really, really soon. So Trump said, well, I expect the bombing. I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go with. He said, but we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go, according to him. And he says, well, I don't want to do that, but we don't have much time. And he went on, talking about that. So he added that Iran had a choice, and he says they have to negotiate. But apparently, they're not willing to negotiate, and we don't really even know who to negotiate with because the regime is so fractured. They don't want to take the previous negotiators to be negotiators from the Iranian side, and the hardliners that's left definitely will not want to give up anything. So it looks like a sticking point that's not resolvable. Some analysts are even saying this war will just go on and on and on or remain unresolved. And that, they're suggesting kind of like what I did in my very first video, where I talked about the end of the war. So at some point, we'd probably just pull back and what's left of Iran would be in the rubble. And if the IRGC survives, which I thought was likely, that they would be a lot more hardened at heart, but they will have a lot less to work with. It'll take them more time unless they get special assistance from China. And now it's been claimed that the ship that was apprehended had rocket fuel on board. Now, they had been moving sodium, the constituent from making rocket fuel, sodium perchlorate, but the report ours said it had ammonium perchlorate. Ammonium perchlorate is the oxidizer that goes in a solid fuel grain. My hybrid rocket motor back here used nitrous oxide as the oxidizer. It has the same solid fuel grain that military rockets have, hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene. But without the ammonium perchlorate put in, because when you mix ammonium perchlorate in it, it's an explosive. I wouldn't have an explosive rocket motor sitting behind me here. It will burn if you apply either LOX to it or ammonium perchlorate or some kind of oxidizer like that, maybe some type of fluoride, which is far more caustic than oxygen. That's why I've been talking about this uranium hexafluoride as being the proof that that we did not actually take out their centrifuges, because if they had, that stuff would have been out, and this bad news. Yeah, fluoride is more caustic, more oxidizing than oxygen itself. In fact, in the early days, they played around with using that in rockets, but it was just too caustic to use in a rocket motor. It would just eat up everything because it is so corrosive, so oxidizing, so reactive. It is insane. So in any event, ship-to-ship transfers was a report. Yeah, there may have been a lot of that going on. And that may be part of how they're supposedly running the blockade. But anyway, if Trump catches, if our military catches, now how did our military let that many ships get by? Well, maybe it's because they're patrolling such a large area. Maybe we don't have enough density. But you think with our sensor platforms and satellite technology, we'd be seeing such things as that. We're told that Palantir has total situation awareness of everything in the world, which I debunk that. And the primary case for debunking it goes back to the Chinese biolabs in the United States. If Palantir was so good, how is it that a guy who had a biolab in Reedy, California, actually claimed for his bail bond, he used a property in Las Vegas, and for 3 years, nobody investigated that property, which had another biolab in it. Yeah, if Palantir was that good, they would have caught that. If the FBI had people, if the FBI wasn't a government agency, or in government agencies, people like to sit on their rear fat ends and do nothing or very little. I know I've worked in and amongst government agencies for years. That's why I don't like socialism, because government agencies are extremely inefficient. This I know, and from personal experience. So the FBI kind of let that slide. If they had done, just halfway decent sleuth work, they would have caught that. But now with all these intel assets like Palantir, how did they miss it? Well, Palantir is not bulletproof. Palantir is like Swiss cheese. It's got holes in it. So they tell you that they can. They actually tell you they can monitor everything. But obviously, that's not effective. So, in any event, uh, we got to do better sleep work right here in the United States just to make sure that we catch these biolabs. And like when a guy who actually got caught with a biolab claims the property is collateral in his bail bond and nobody checks that out, boom, my head explodes. How in the world can our FBI and intel agencies be that sneaking incompetent? Holy guac smoke a moly. That's the first thing they should have ran down. In any event, you see, I've had my own dealings with lazy bureaucrats that cost me a major contract in Alabama once upon a time, just because they wouldn't get off their duff. Same kind of thing I encountered when I was in the Army repeatedly, but in other working with other federal agencies is that just a lot of people just don't care to do their job. You know, when you're dealing with government, you're not a customer, you're a problem. And that can be critical, especially like the military hospital where somebody comes in needing help and they kind of ignore them. I've seen that too. So the stuff I've seen is hair raising. That's why I don't like socialism. And I post a lot of stuff on Facebook that's anti-socialism. A lot of lefties, they don't know it. They don't get it. They are attacking me left and right on Facebook for this stuff. But I can't help their ignorance. They think they're so smart. They're so smug in their superior intellect. Yeah, kind of like Khan. Yours is the superior intellect. Yeah, so that get by him. Boom. Him and his whole crew. But anyway, all that aside. So uh, that's the deal. The situation is getting hairy right now, and how it resolves is yet to be seen. We do have Alex Jones is actually claiming that Trump is doing all this stuff because he's made a deal with the deep state to throw the elections in the midterm. Wow, let's hope not. But Alex Jones sometimes goes off the cuff. But that is not outside the realm of possibilities. And I did do a video back in his first term asking if he was a covert agent of the deep state. I don't think so. But you got to wonder. And what I tell you guys all the time, trust no man. Put your faith in no man. I've said that many times. So we just got to be watchful. What I do put my faith in is we don't want the left taking over Congress in the midterms. What it will bring us will be horrendous. Yeah, the results will be off the charts. But I've talked about that in previous videos. Go back and watch those. I might have done it on Silverhead News. But there's also a report claiming from Admiral Admiral Rob Bauer. He's a former NATO military committee head and chief military advisor to the Alliance's Secretary General and was up into January 2025. And he said in an interview with this New Voice of Ukraine, which, this could just be playing into the Ukrainian narrative because Ukraine's always trying to get the whole Western world wrapped up in the war with Russia. But so you got to consider the source. But he is claiming that Russia may strike a European nation. They may select a European nation within NATO to attack at the behest of China. And the logic behind this is if China attacks Taiwan, they want to further distract the United States by causing a war in a whole nother theater so we wouldn't know which way to go to spread us thin. I've been suggesting that North Korea might launch an attack on South Korea. I think that's more probable in concert with something that Washington, that China may want. Would Russia actually make a launch like that? I mean, that's pretty crazy on the standpoint of Russia, unless they were really blackmailed real hard by China or had some special assurances or protection, because actually Russia's economy is on the ropes right now. There's internal dissent right now. Whether you think they'd attack Warsaw, they might do that fun time. Poland is trying to build up to have the strongest military in Europe. The former Soviet bloc nations that overthrew their communist yoke are both the most anti-communist countries you'll find anywhere. And that's you'll find that with any former communist country. They hate communism, but they also hate Russia. They have a special hatred for Russia because of the way they were dominated for some time. I know I got a friend who is an Estonian, and if he's hadn't passed away, he may be gone. He was rather elderly. He's in my video with Amy Eskridge asking a bunch of questions. You hear a guy talking in a foreign voice, that's him, Hilmar Luik. He's kind of a mad scientist kind of guy, brilliant, but something else. He may be gone. He may be passed away. He was really up there in age. But anyway, yeah, I know guys who literally really hate Russia from those countries. So well, that's why Poland is building their military. That's why those the eastern part of NATO, those eastern NATO nations, are a lot more friendly to the United States than the haughty French and the Keir Starmer crowd over in the United Kingdom. So French President Macaroni and Keir Starmer are not so friendly to us right now, and neither is Mark Carney up in Canada. They're all globalist, and they want the globalist agenda to go forward. So let's hope that Trump hasn't been convinced to throw the elections, but they may be thrown anyway from the looks of the way things are going in the polls. I have a hard time thinking that's intentional, and some people think there's an October surprise that Trump's going to pull a rabbit out of the hat to pull things back in kilter, but something really good that would make people want to vote Republican. I don't know. That's hearsay. A lot of times, sometimes October surprises come out, but there's more, it's kind of like wars and rumors of wars. It's more on the rumor side. There's always more rumors of October surprises than there are actual October surprises. So we'll see what comes up here in October, anywhere between now and then. Can you hear my crazy critters? Yeah, they're running around right now, tearing the house down. They're running back and forth and knocking things over. And they knocked over my garbage can. Not good. I'll probably have garbage strewed everywhere. So they are into everything. But I'll have to see that shortly. I might have a big mess to clean up a little bit. Fortunately, I took it out yesterday, so there won't be a lot of stuff in there. But good grief, these cats are crazy. They're about to the point of having to go outside. Yeah, they're about to have to contend with the coyotes. They might be better contending with the coyotes than contending with me, to be honest. They don't calm down. So, in any event, but anyway, so that's what this Admiral Rob Bauer is claiming. That's why I'm putting Nuke War News on this tonight. But there's also another thing. There's a Nobel Prize winner who is claiming that we've got about 35 years left on Earth before full-scale nuclear war. And this is Nobel Prize winning physicist David Gross. I'm going to probably do a special video just on this alone. But that's kind of what he's done is he's assessed that the risk for nuclear war is a lot higher now than it's ever been because of all the global tensions in the world. And I'm going to go more in depth on this. I think I'll do a special video on it. He's claiming it's 2% per year. And, the average over that, the way that this compounds would say that the average time span for that to happen would be 35 years. Could be tomorrow morning, or it could be 70 years out or further. But, just by his calculations, that's what he's looking at. He used radioactive decay kind of calculations, but, he's a nuclear physicist, so that can be figured. But there is risk. It is there. We had many close calls when it was just the United States and Russia as the only nuclear powers. Now there's, we've got a lot more nuclear powers in the world and a lot less time for warning with all these hypersonic weapons and so forth. So it is an existent thing to consider. And this is why you've got to prep. And I need to come out and put more into these nuclear war survival videos. I'm planning to launch a new channel to talk more just on the prepping side of things. So these are all things we have to consider. But like I said, the Mohammed Bagher Garibov He is the Speaker of the Parliament there in Iran. He is claiming that they've got new cards to play, new cards on the battlefield, never before seen technology that the West just doesn't know what's coming. Well, guess what? I found it. Nobody else has. I had to do some real deep digging. My intel sources took a lot of risks to bring me these videos. I have videos of this very thing. Let's see if I can pull them up and share them here. Hang on, guys. Give me a minute. I've got to find the right directory, pull these videos up. I hope I don't get in great trouble for sharing this. It may be classified intel, but nobody's seen it. Nobody. Actually, our military hasn't seen it. So I might be getting in all kind of trouble. Hang on, guys. I've got to find a route. Where's this at? There they are. So I am going to start one of these videos and show it to you. Give me a second. Ding, 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 ding. It's got to come up. It's got to come up. Got two videos of this. Two videos of this new technology that Iran has. It's scary stuff, my friends. Oh, scary, scary stuff. So hang on. Here we go. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. I am going to unmute my sound so you can actually hear the sound too. Hang on. Ding, ding, ding. Give me a second. Bear with me. This is going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Hang on. So now I hit the share button. I got so many buttons to click to make all this work. Ding, ding. There it is. Now, come on. And here it is. Oh, I got another video. I got another video. It gets better. That's their cavalry. All right, I got one more video. Stop the share. Stop that video. Open the other one. Give me a second. Oh, yeah, the scary weapons here. Really incredible technology. Hang on. It takes a minute for this thing to load once I click on it. Hang on, guys. We got to see this other one here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on. I got to hit this. Come on, quit playing. Quit playing. It just automatically plays. Hang on. Now let me hit the share button. This showing their weapon system they got mounted on these. It's formidable. It's formidable, my friends. Hang on. Here it is. The Iranian new weapon systems. Here we are. Let's play it again. Big swing shot. Hey, what do y'all think about that? Do y'all feel that we're threatened? Do y'all feel safe? I hope our troops are secure. Holy smoke. All right. Yeah, awesome tech. Exactly. You never seen that anywhere else. Took a lot of digging to come up with that. God, I'm gonna have to post those on Facebook. Anyway, guys, you've seen it. You've seen it first here, nowhere else. So, Yates, what's going on here? Trying to pull up some other things just to look at here. So, anyway, so yeah, Alex Jones, like I said, he's making his claims. So some are saying that toppling Iran requires fighting the RGC. Well, where'd he go there? Well, you had me worried. Yeah, I think that's their new secret weapon. I I think that's their new technology we got to watch out for. So, guys, we got to have a little fun on here. Who says that war news can't be fun? uh, hey there, Alice. How you doing? We're not going to go much longer now. I'm not pulling up a bunch of articles to show you guys tonight because I got a late start. I've been all day long trying to make a video on Amy Eskridge, and I've had a 3-hour video I was trying to show excerpts from. And so when I started my video and I was trying to show these things, and when I went to, I had this video, I had different pages, tabs of this video, scrolled exactly where I wanted to be at. And then when I played the first one, the next one, everyone reset to the same timestamp instead of the timestamps I was wanting to show from. So it really messed that video up. You always make us laugh. I try. You know, it's not all scared, gloom and doom, fear mongering like some people claim. Yeah, there's plenty to be concerned about. There's plenty to worry about, but I always tell you to prep and pray. And I think the praying may be the most important aspect of it, quite frankly. Be right with your maker. Anyway, there's reports of a new super volcano found under Europe and around Italy, in addition to Naples and so forth. A big magma chamber. They claim the magma is really thick, so they don't think it's going to be a problem. And again, like I said, Iran's just thinking they can outlast Trump, but we don't know if their economy is crashing in there. It might not work. If the blockade is tight enough, it might not work. Some people claim the blockade isn't all that tight. Other news is the archaeologists are claiming that they think they know where the Ark of the Covenant is. They believe it's in the old city of David, which is outside the Temple Mount area. And some people think the actual temple was there and not on the Temple Mount itself. So they're claiming if the temple, the Jewish people built a temple at the city of David, that would be the appropriate place for it. And it wouldn't require all this fights over the destroying the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the ones the Muslims have erected on the Temple Mount. That would cause quite a war. And now that Israel is trying to make peace with all their Arab neighbors on the Abraham Accords, you think they wouldn't want to go there, but who knows? It's prophetic that there'll be another temple, and we do know that the Israelis are chomping at the bit to build one somewhere. So let's hope if they do so, they'll put it at the city of David, which is not on the Temple Mount. That's another complex that a lot of people think was the actual site. So much for all that. But any event, these are the things that's coming up. Clarence Thomas has made a big speech talking about the threat of progressivism. I might need to look that up, see if you can find it. So he seldom talks about anything. So for him to come out and do a speech is kind of interesting and different. He's have all the justices on the Supreme Court. He's been the quietest, but he gave a big speech in Texas at one of the universities, I think in Austin somewhere. But you go into, especially if it's in Austin. Austin's a liberal city in Texas. So you go to a university talking conservatism, you might not fare all that popular. Now the cats are trying to attack my chair. I'm under assault. There's a reason that the word catastrophe starts with cat. Catastrophe. I figured that out now. And let's see what's happening to my garbage. Yeah, that garbage can. Get out of the garbage can. Anyway, so cats. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up quick tonight. We're not going to go all night long here. I got to still try to work on that. Problem is, I don't have a video editing software on any computer that's got sound, just my power. And I don't have any sound on it. I turned it in to get the sound fixed, and it's got no sound. I'm gonna call that shop up maybe tomorrow and talk to them about that. I've got I don't have any, you can kind of sort of edit stuff in YouTube after you post it, but that's real clunky, really clunky. And sometimes the editing, you'll try to make some edits and it'll process for a day or two or three. And this is the Amy Eskridge story will get cold if I don't get it out soon. I know how you're always happy and smiling. Oh, you love how I'm always happy and smiling. Yeah, and some people say I'm fear mongering all the time. Not the case, not the case. I mean, there's things to be concerned about, and I do bring you reports of things that are sometimes fairly alarming. But I always tell you guys to prep and pray, and I always tell you don't be scared, be prepared. You can only do what you can do. You can only control what you can control. And once you've done the best you can do, you should be able to live at peace with that, whatever it is. Um, Now, I just found out today that my job is indeed ending this week, and that I'm not going to have a full week pay period of pay from this week. And it's just I get to charge an hour tomorrow for a meeting and burn up the rest of my vacation, which will give me about 34 hours out of an 88, hour work period. So I'm going to have to be scrambling for some other way to come up with some income. So y'all could do me a favor and check out switchwithgreg.com if you're in the market to buy seeds. Check out True Leaf Market. These are things that can help me out a little bit and help yourself too. They're all good products in both cases. So in any event, I'm going to pull up the chat room here in the computer itself instead of looking over my shoulder and just see what people are having to say, because I've just pretty much covered the news for the night. So for a coffee club, uh, people in the morning, 35 minutes, the news part is covered today. We're going to kind of scroll through and look at comments from people, and then we'll do the egg guess. Hold your guesses. I did lose a hand, by the way. So all of a sudden, morning. Yeah, it is morning, even here now. Howdy, new days. 3 Arnold, okay. Breaking news, David Wilcox. Yeah, I just discovered that this evening. And they don't know for a fact if some people think he's still alive. That's just one more report. Well, I've already recorded that of the video, so that'll have to go into a different video in the future. I'd already recorded that video when I found out. I spent all day long trying to make that video, because when you're trying to take snippets out of a 3-hour video and you're trying to do it by dialing up where you want it to be, and then you present it. I had everyone dial the right place, and when I started my video and I showed one of them, every single tab scrolled to the same time mark instead of the time mark I had them set at. I spent a lot of time doing that. So, anyway, you expect to see a video about Amy Eskridge tomorrow on my Galactic Greg's channel. It's concerning what's going on. New cards in the war. Yeah. Alex John interview with Victor Bout today was present. Could be, could be. I can tell you, put your faith in no man. The boy said, "Hey, Earthworm, I like your handle on here." Or Israel did. I forget who. Intel already dropped the help coming from China. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Well, what do you expect? I told you guys all along that Iran was a proxy for China. Iran was, one of China's satellites for doing things. Bridges describes many things true. And I did a report, I talked about that numerically. There's something like 300,000 different bridges and culverts and stuff like that. They're not going to go after all those. And if you wanted to shut down traffic, you wouldn't have to go after all those. You just have to hit the main bridges that would inhibit troop movement, really and truly. And we don't have enough ammo to go after all of them anyway. So, that could be just a figure of speech. It could be Trump posturing to try to get them to negotiations. I work for a large company and saw the inefficient. Large companies can be very bureaucratic too. Boeing, back when we had Boeing as our prime contractor on the Space Launch System, when I was working with NASA was very bureaucratic, but Boeing was worse. I was astounded by the bureaucracy in the Boeing side of the house. It's no wonder Boeing can't get anything done. No wonder their Starliner spaceship never worked and almost killed two astronauts that took up and couldn't be trusted to return them. All of a sudden with kitty tracks. There you go. I worry about the whole last POTUS talk here. How you doing, fun time? So at least your tiny home is easy to clean. Yeah, it's not big, but it's going to have a thorough cleaning when I get these kitty cats out of here. Oh my gosh. Waiting for the punchline. Well, you got it. You got the punchline now. We see what the new technology is of the Iranians. So where else do you get that? Arnold says, Greg, brother, I think it's high time you get in touch with Kerry Holtzman. He has 35 years experience in building, fixing computer hardware. Oh, um, I don't know where he is. I need somebody local. Um, I'm thinking about running my computer up to Sholo, where I can take it into the shop and talk to somebody directly. Um, so I've used two different local shops. Neither one of them was that great. My mayor is going to South Korea and Shanghai. Wow. Uh, Thanksgiving for all the hard work. Well, thank you all the son. Appreciate that. Um, New days. David had mental health issues, alcohol issues, owed IRS big money, prime candidate for suicide. It could be. I kind of fell out of fall. I started following him real early because he got him with that Corey Good guy, and Corey Good was talking blue chicken aliens, just some off the wall stuff. And I'm going, these guys are just making this stuff up. And later on, it did come out that Corey Good was making stuff up, and David Wilcox kind of fell into that at one time. So I never paid any attention to him. So cats need their own house. They're going to have the entire outdoors here soon. But I can't afford to do much building right now. I just got to try to get my garden operational. I'm here on high alert. Doing well, thank you. That's good to know. And we all got to stay on high alert. He can diagnose remotely. Well, he's in Phoenix. Send me his number. I'm going to call the guy who's supposed to check this thing out. It could just be that I need a driver. I tried to see how to install a driver for the particular speaker I got, and it didn't give me a choice when I went into my settings. It something's could be because I'm running an old version of Windows. I don't like to upgrade Windows. I'm not a fan of doing that. The cats need their. I think the cats will claim this house. I think that's their claim. So they think this is their house. So yeah, they're going to be in the great outdoors, becoming part of the rat force here soon. They'll join Smokey the cat, and that'll be their job. So yeah, I still didn't get my garden where I wanted it, and I need to buy more of that black compost, and that stuff is expensive. So I gotta sit down and go through my finances to figure out how to finagle what's coming up, because I got very little money available right now. I spent all my money trying to prep my garden without realizing I was about to be in such a dire strait. Uh, in any event, um, I got a lot of figuring to do. I might try to raise microgreens, but anything I'm going to do to try to make money, I got to spend a little money to do it, and the money I got to spend is mighty tight right now. So I just got to figure my way through this stuff. Um, yeah, I see the cat's got something that look like it probably come out of the garbage can, chewing on it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over and police things up here in a little bit. Uh, Kerry Hossman has his YouTube channel. Well, I might could monitor that, but sometimes you don't know how to contact somebody from that. Thank you for sharing my True Leaf Market link there, New Days. Use that link, and I'll get a finder's fee, basically. What do you call it? It's I'm brain locked tonight, but it won't cost you a penny more. They got good deals there. Hello Furniture. Hello Fun Time. Sometimes I have a hard time seeing the letters. They're kind of small. Money is tied out here too, Greg. Yeah, I know that. Things are expensive. Gas is up. Gas is up, and yeah, everybody's having a tight time right now. I totally get that. Uh, I hope that microgreens will sell around here. I don't know. You know, it's not quite the market I had in Madison, Alabama. I didn't make no much of money there either. Maybe if I have time, I can actually land a deal with a restaurant. I couldn't pull that off in Alabama because I just didn't. It's hard to coordinate with these shifts. When you got a full-time job, it's next to impossible to do that. So in any event, we'll check my email here. See if we get any interesting notifications tonight. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, stuff for a little class tomorrow. Something I'm doing. Was doing on the side. Anyway, guys, so like I said, that's the news. I've gone through the chat room. I managed to entertain y'all tonight. Even talking about nuke war, I still managed to come up with a way to put some fun in the video tonight. I usually try to show something interesting, a little bit on the fun side, but I just had that inspiration tonight. It says, yeah, I know what the secret weapon is. I know what the Iranians got up their sleeve. So I figured y'all would get a good time out of that. So we're going to try to wrap up fast here tonight. So we're going to do this now. Egg guess. How many eggs I get today? Go. How many eggs did I harvest today from my chickens? Feeding them a lot. They're not laying a whole lot of eggs, given what I'm feeding them. I was hoping to get my chicken garden set up, but it's not where I want it to be. All right, we got a couple guesses. Keep guessing, guys. Yeah, nobody's hit it yet. Keep guessing. Don't guess what somebody else is guessing. All right, all of a sudden, got it. All of a sudden. Well, all of a sudden, you got a good track record. Here's five. 5 eggs. Okay, we got that guess. Oops, knocked my light over. So out of the, all right, stop guessing now. I only got 11 hens now. It's 5. 5 is the number, and all of a sudden got it first. Peppermint Patty was trying to get it, but all of a sudden beat you to it. 5. All right, stop guessing. No more guesses. Let the numbers stop rolling, and we'll do the next guess. All right, the numbers have stopped rolling. How many of those 5 eggs are Easter eggs? Go. Previous guesses don't count. New guesses, that's right. Well, it can't be more than the total number of eggs. If I got 5 eggs, it can't be more Easter eggs than eggs nowadays. How many of them are Easter eggs? 2. You got it, Justin Keyser. You got it. You got it. Hey, Kim Possible, how you doing? Oh, we got a donation. Let's see this. This came through the email. Wow, Kim Possible. Salute to Kim. Kim Possible just sent me a $100 donation. Wow, $100. $100. Think about that, guys. That's awesome. That is awesome. And Just Keyser got the Easter egg guess. So salute to Kim Possible. Thank you, Kim, very much. Thank you. Thank you. That will definitely help. I'm in some tight times here. So I really appreciate that. Two good guesses in 2 weeks. Yeah, you've won. You've been a repeat winner. You have been a repeat winner. Yeah, that's very sweet of Kim Possible. Very sweet. Thank you so much. So that is awesome. That is extremely awesome. So that'll definitely help. All righty, folks. I'll show you the eggs. I'll show y'all the eggs. I think there must. I think New Days has got a delay. She's probably not hearing this stuff as soon as it comes out. She's still guessing. All right, here, guys. Here are the eggs. You see the two Easter eggs right here? I'm shining this yellow light on them. Don't make them look right. What in the world's falling? Oh, better pick it up before the cats grab it. Now they're already heading for it. A roll of paper. They love that kind of stuff. Gotta put a different light on it. White light. These are usually too bright. There's this. And I got one egg almost white. And it's not pure white. It's kind of a beige. And I'm really wondering if my leghorn heard me name her stew pot. Maybe she decided to lay an egg. Because she's not been laying many eggs. Maybe that's her egg. Like I said, she might have heard me name her stew pot. I don't know why the delay. Yeah, I think there's some delay. I think you got a delay on your end. Because I'm getting guesses from you way after the fact. That's why some of your numbers are really big, and I'm like, and then they're still guessing. So I think that may be what's going on there. I don't know. Arnold says, Greg, brother, if you watch any Carrie's shows, he has an email address. I'm just scroll back up in the chat and grab his name and paste it into YouTube, I guess. But I prefer almost to have a place I can just take it into. Let's see, where did you mention his full name at? Just go back up. Past egg guesses. Carrie Holzman. Can I just copy that part? Ding, ding. Control C to copy. Go over to my browser. Whoa. See my whole screen. Why's it doing that? And it's blank. Not what I want to see on my browser. Click a button. I think my memory's almost maxed out on this computer. That's why it's running kind of slow me. Why? And YouTube. 5 and 2. That's right. 5 and 2. That's the numbers I got. Have to get good night. Well, good night, Alice. Thanks for being in the house. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to try to enter this guy's name, pull his channel up. But it's slow. My memory must be about maxed out on this computer. I don't have that much stuff open, but this one don't have a lot of RAM. Yeah, my memory's 95%. The disk says 100%. Why is the disk running 100%? CPU 77, now memory's 96%. That's what. So it's trying to write to the disk temporary memory or something. So it's kind of hung up. At least my Zoom hasn't been crashing as much since I switched computers. Yeah, this don't want to update. Maybe if I kill this other browser, it might free up some memory. If I kill that browser, bang, hit the X on it. Firefox tends to eat a lot of memory. Then when you kill something, that always makes the memory spike for a minute. Yeah, memory management is a real trick with this computer. One reason I didn't pull up a lot of articles, that and mainly because I was running some late for trying to work on the Amy Eskridge video. Nights. All right. Good night, Alice. Good to see you in the house. This thing still ain't loading. Trying to load on YouTube. It's not coming in. Maybe if I kill a few tabs. I won't let me do nothing. I can't do nothing with it. She's frozen. She's a frozen. Well, shucks. I kill a tab or two. Maybe I got it. There we go. Now it's coming up. Now she's coming up. Gary Holzman. So he got a plug in his thing. Let's see if that's him. Bill Guys, computer repair. Okay, I got his channel up. All righty. We got him up. All righty. So with that, we've been on here 54 minutes. So it'll be good to get a video done within an hour. It means more people will watch it in the morning. So with that, I'm going to say thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again, Kim Possible, for the incredible super chat, the donation. She goes to my website, Green Greg's, and uses the donate button. So I appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody for being in here tonight, everybody for watching. Thank you, mods, for what you do. And with that, I'm going to say a hearty good night, good day.